Hello YouTube, and welcome to episode 2 of my series tracking the progress of my 3.0 free-to-play account. To recap, this account started in patch 3.0 when we drafted our first team around Aglaya, and then our second team in 3.1 around E1 Midday. Then after a month of playing, we got full stars in Memory of Chaos, and full stars in Apocalyptic Shadow. But we struggled a bit in Pure Fiction, missing 1 star. So what's happened on this account after that first month? I started by finishing most of my traces, which were previously stuck at 7 out of 10, and then I spent about 2 months farming the Poet and Hero set. This let us upgrade our Aglaya, who was previously on the Scholar set, to a decent Hero set, and do the same for Remembrance MC. But the big winner from this farming was Tribby, who is now an absolute monster. On a related note, I needed a Keel energy rope, so I synthesized one with speed on it, and it turned into this absolute banger. In terms of pulls, in 3.2 I tried pulling for Fugue because I recommended her in the new player guide video I made, but lost a 50-50 to Welt. So now I have an E2 Welt that I'm sure will become useful one day. The big win from these pulls was that we finally got Gallagher, which is a huge upgrade for Midday. After that we saved the Pity and later in the patch pulled Anaxa. We skipped all of patch 3.3 to make sure that we had enough pulls in 3.4 for Sunday and won that 50-50. Because we had plenty of Stellar Jade left over, I pulled on the Trivia banner and won the 50-50 for her E1. This left us with a bunch of pulls away from Archer's Lightcone. To be honest, there's a heat wave right now, and I'm too tired to farm the content for the Stellar Jade. I'll do it later in the patch. Speaking of Archer, of course, we picked up our free Get Wrecked Shiro, but I won't be using him in this video because I want to show how this account performs without Mihoyo's free stuff. So can we still clear the endgame, or were we only able to do that in the first episode because we pulled the meta characters? Let's start with Pure Fiction, which just rotated. So we're going to go with Anaxa on the first stage. And Anaxa can be a little awkward because he needs his elemental stacks to double skill. But what happens in Pure Fiction is on the first wave, sometimes the Whimsicality will wipe the stage and leave him with no enemies to skill off of. So we're going to try to avoid that from happening in the first wave and in the transition to the second wave. This gets us a Robin ult, and so we get to go again. We're trying our best to push this Whimsicality. We need to cleanse here, but we're not going to ultimate just yet. Now that the Whimsicality is off, we can ult. I want to do this first just to make sure the wave doesn't get completely wiped out. And now that we're on a new wave, we can get going. Yeah. That's too bad. Hopefully we can get just enough energy before his turn. Now, why do we wait to use our ults? The interesting thing about this Whimsicality is it gives 40% speed to the team, which for our team, in combination with a 135 speed Anaxa, brings them to 175 speed, so with just a little bit more of a push from Anaxa's from Dance Dance Dance, we can get to over 180 speed, which is what you need to have 3 turns per Robin ultimate, which is very powerful. Okay. This is sort of unfortunate, because it actually puts us through the situation that I mentioned, where Anaxa's going to not be able to double skill off of this. so given that formation, I'm actually just going to basic here. So that Huohuo can heal him. And see, as promised, we're going to have a third turn inside of this Robin ult. Okay, so it's important we don't run ult her, because it will push her ahead of our good friend Anaxa. So now we just basic and start the ult again. It's very helpful for Robin to get her ultimate back in time to actually have those 3 turns per ally inside of her ultimate. So continue the chain. Got plenty of skill points. Now we ultimate. And see, in the second wave and so after that, it's much less of an issue if your allies, if the whimsicality wipes the stage, because we at least always have this elite to bounce skills off of. Alright, I think I can actually get away with just a regular attack here. I don't think the damage is so high that we have to ultimate, or a skill with Bobo. Just push our damage a little bit. Getting skill points from Bronya is helpful in the setup, for E1 is pretty good. One nice thing about Sunday though is like in situations like that, he can be more efficient by just giving him those, 10, 20, 30 extra energy so that Anaxa can ult right away. So we do have to skill here, it's getting kind of risky. And here we need to basic, because Bronya needs to have her turn. And now we're probably just going to basic again. We might as well have skill points available. We're buffed, might as well do it. Musicality goes up again, cool. Robin's turn ends. Robin's had plenty of help from her allies to get her energy back, and we ult right away. So here we are trying our best to push this wave. So we skill the lowest health targets. Ultimate. Now I have to be careful. We're gonna try to have an ultimate ready for when the wave ends. Alright, I can run your ult here to push us forward. Okay, do we need to heal? No, we can just get skill points. So we need to kill 2 enemies. So let's start with the lowest health ones. It's gonna push us. Yeah, too bad. Let's see. I guess we could just go. I don't think anybody can really die in the remaining cycle, so we're just gonna do this here. And we focus on the shields. Let's get like a couple of shields down. Robin, unfortunately, is going to finally use her ultimate. So, Robin needs to reskill. Its shield is the lowest. Can she? Yeah, she can. Cool. Okay, so that's our last stage, so... go all in now. Pretty sure we're outside the cycle, so we just ult here. For the extra damage. And... 25,000, which isn't great, but keep in mind, he didn't have elemental advantage on this stage. And he really kind of wants Sunday in those situations. Getting 25,000 points on Anaxa side is not ideal, but that's okay, because this midday side is our heavily invested side, and the side that we are trying to catch up on by actually reaching 40,000 points. And the reason we can do that is because Midday's kit makes it fairly straightforward for us to not have to use a healer. And so we can push extra damage this way. But in general, Star Rail is a game that sort of favors vertical investment, especially in moves like Perfection, because you end up in situations like this where... Let's push this, right. You end up in situations like this where if you have enough damage, you can just ignore the enemy's damage by killing them faster. And so a character like Midday can do this naturally through their base kit, but pretty much any character can do this once you have sufficient investment. So the one thing we want to watch out for... Yeah, we want to make sure we have our ultimate ready. So we first pull to get the buff, and now we make sure we tag the boss so that he focuses on Midday. Now Midday wipes the wave. And we're already halfway done with the stage. All of this thanks to his E1, which is very hard. So here we're going to take up some damage, which is unfortunate. We have plenty of skill points, so we can just heal men. Try and push this wave a bit. Now we have 2 bird turns, and after these birds take their turn, we're probably finishing the stage. Yeah, even before then. So we're gonna wait for this. What do we want? We want True Sting and the little stinglets. So this is probably going to wipe the stinglets. Having one break first is good. Cool. Now the whimsicality is going to end, but we have so many skill points we can just keep healing Mem. Our main concern is to make sure that RMC doesn't die. She is standing right next to Midday. Still can do this. Make sure we heal. Okay. Is there a True Sting that we can hit? Yes, we can hit this one. Make sure it attacks us. Yeah, so that one's going to attack midday, good. We have one skill point from... I think this time I'm actually going to... I'm going to basic here. I want the regular skill point. Perfect. He's on his last life, but we're gonna finish this stage soon. Okay, so we're actually going to be... Oh, that was a mistake. Whoops. Should be okay. We just need to kill a couple more stings, and we're done with the stage. I just didn't want to waste the midday turn by having him come off cycle with Sunday. We have skill points, so we just heal here. Yeah, we should be fine. Perfect. Cool. It's gonna take a turn. It's getting low on life. Okay, we still have one more round of attacks. So as long as nobody dies, we're fine. Wow, perfectly dodging midday. What are the odds? Let's finish this off midday. And we're done. 65,000 points total, 40,000 on the final side. Next up is Memory of Chaos. Alright, so on the True Stink side, we're going to use midday. Our midday is E1, and that's nice because it's going to help him deal with the mini stings better than another midday might. But the thing you will notice is that we're using Robin instead of Tribby. What's going on here? Well, the reality is, here we're going to use a Gallagher, also has a higher chance of hitting Quid Pro Quo on one of the allies. But the reality is that Anaxa is on the second side of this Memory of Chaos, and Anaxa was just struggling with all the AoE that he needed to do. Because there's minions being spawned. Basically, it was pretty bad. So I figured, okay, it's a game where you have to have both teams finished. So I moved Tribby to the other side to help him out with that. And on this side, we're just going to have Robin, which is not ideal, obviously. But good enough for government work, as they say. We're really focused on getting this in a timely manner. But getting like a very fast time on this set is not a priority. So unfortunately, Robin's not going to get into her ult right here. And we're actually going to save her ult for now. And the reason we're going to do that is because we want to load up on ults for the second phase. So we need to make sure that we save this ultimate for this spawn. This way, we don't waste any of the damage that's incoming. Exactly. So, midday is going to E1, and this is going to speed up our clock pretty significantly. So now the main thing we need to think about is we need to make sure that every time that the True Sting spawns minions, that we have an ult ready for that. Here we can... We're gonna let them take their turns. Just gonna heal her so she doesn't die. Repeat. Now we're going to use this ult. You can heal here. Alright, so now, once again, we go, but we hold on to this ult until the true little stings are spawned. So this has a taunt, this has a taunt, so we taunt the little stings now. Although they're going to die anyway. Okay. This is going to push phase into the next wave. And now he's... Oh, that's unfortunate. This is going to push the phase into the next, which is fine. So the many stings are going to attack him, which will blow up. Oh, that's... Yeah, okay. This should blow up most of the mini stings. And now our goal is back again to trying to get this ult out before the true sting goes. Oh. Let's see if we can get... Okay, this is a valuable ult. We can get this extra turn for our Robin. And now we kind of want to heal up our midday. The red one is not going to attack. We don't have a red one. Okay, so which ones are in order? I guess these are all going to die anyway. So we just go like this. Heal everybody up. This is going to blow up the mini stings. And just a little bit of damage left. Not the fastest clear, but gives our Anaxa plenty of time. Alright, so in side 2 we have Anaxa. And our primary goal beyond finishing on time obviously is to not die. I have seen these enemies do such stupid single target focus, like they just one-shot DPS sometimes. And it's especially a problem with like these older healers like Huo Huo or Gallagher even, that don't really have reactive healing, that they just can't respond in time to make sure that nobody dies. So our healing is like one of those things that usually it's like, yeah, we have enough of it. You just need enough and you're fine. Well, this was like the first time I can think of in a very long time that I went out of my way to buff Huohuo's healing. I actually leveled up Baiwu's signature light cone specifically so that we wouldn't have this problem of people just dying. So like whenever somebody takes a turn, they're actually getting healed for a lot. Like see, like it's a quarter of his health almost. The other thing is this lion spawns the ads, as you saw before, and they soak up a lot of damage. It's very annoying. And if you don't kill them fast, they actually make this one-shot situation worse, because they do a lot of damage themselves. So we are focusing this line, and the nice thing about Tribi is that Tribi helps out with killing that line very well. Okay, so here need to basic, I think. Cool. And we're off to the next stage. Unfortunately, we're not going to have quite enough to get an ult right away on Hula. And we have to be careful about our skill points, actually. So, Huohuo needs to heal here, as I was mentioned. We always need to have our shield up so that nobody dies. And here we need to basic. And this Tribi... No, Tribi doesn't need a skill point right away. So we can start damaging the boss. Cool. So for now, we can just use our ults on command. Now we have to be careful about. So we're going to need skill points next turn for sure, because Huohuo and Tribi are going to have to rebuff. So the other nice thing about Tribi on this team is that once he enters his frenzied state, the Tribi follow-ups are very good at allowing us to push him out of his extra state. And so here, as we mentioned, we need 2 skill points for Tribi and for Huohuo. Fortunately, we got Bronya's E1 to proc, so we can actually do a skill point. You see now he's broken. We do some extra damage. Cool. So now we get our healing shield back up. Get our buff back up. So here we just basic. Basically. So let him get his little guy out. I should advance everybody. Are we gambling on a Bronya? Let's gamble on a Bronya trigger. No luck. So here we could, in principle, ult. Maybe let's do that. Let's see if we can flip him. No luck. This flips. Okay. Cool. So we're on the next stage. So now we have to be really careful. It's very easy for him to target either Bronyer or Anaxa and just destroy them once he's enraged. We need a skill point for Bronyer. Let's try to kill this wolf. Probably can't, but it's a decent attempt. Yeah, so now he's going to consume the wolf. And he targets Tribute. Perfectly fine. And he puts the debuff on Tribute. Great. So now... Action advance everybody. Break. No, don't target. No, not Anaxa. Okay, see what I mean? If you had a target on Anaxa, would have been in trouble. But here we're just gonna break him. Naturally. So we need to be mindful about skill points. We need 3 skill points. So I think this is a basic. Yeah, that's fine. And now we heal. We should be able to finish this within this cycle. Advance everybody. Generate a skill point. Okay, so Bronny is going to need a skill point, so we're just basic here. And since I'm trying to finish in this cycle, for vanity reasons, I'm going to buff now, just so this attack is buffed. And we're done. Let's finish with Apocalyptic Shadow. So against Flame Reaver, we're going to use our Aglaya. Now, this is the only boss we use her against, but she is our best character against this boss. And normally she's actually pretty good at him. The problem is that the way they designed her him, in this Apocalyptic Shadow mode, is she's going to struggle a little bit against him. And we'll talk about why later. But for now, we just focus on killing these shadows. The shadows do about a third or a quarter of Flame Reaver's toughness, so we just need to kill 3 of them. Plus do some toughness damage. But the problem is, the boss is really designed around specific damage thresholds, and specifically around this weakened shadow that just attacked, that when you kill it, it gives a power buff and an extra turn to the character that killed it. And the problem is that with my Aglaya being free to play and a relatively new character, my Aglaya really struggles with meeting those damage thresholds, both in terms of killing enemies fast enough to be able to see the guy in the first place, and in addition, when she actually kills him, oftentimes I have seen the extra damage and the reset go to the Memo Sprite instead of Aglaya, which is kind of frustrating. So here we're going to let Aglaya go, and now we reset. This is going to put the order of characters back in the right direction. So our goal here is really to just weaken him as much as possible before he flips modes again. Alright. Okay, so here's an example. This time, I think she's going to get the extra turn. Let's see what happens. She did. And I think I know what's going on. Basically, when Aglaya attacks with her basic, I think what's happening is that it says quite literally that the Aglaya and her Memo Sprite attack at the same time, and that's true. They do attack at the same time, but they don't attack as one single attack. What's actually happening is the Memo Sprite is attacking second after Aglaya takes her turn. So, a different way to understand this, Aglaya takes her turn, and then if she doesn't kill the ghost, the Memo Sprite kills it, and so the Memo Sprite ends up getting the extra turn. Okay. So here we break, we get all our stuff back. That was probably a mistake. Probably could have optimized that energy better. That's fine. Okay. Now we dump this energy. Although maybe I couldn't have really optimized it that much better. So all of our stuff just gives energy anyway. Okay, so we push him to the next phase, great. This should be easier. Because we already have all of our buffs and stuff turned on. I wonder if I'm supposed to ult here. Let's see if the Memo Sprite kills. Fine. I'll break it so that we don't lose anything. So 1577, and we're starting on this second turn. So we let them take their turns, and we're going to reset with Robin after Sunday takes his turn, so that the turn order inside the Sunday ult is correct. Yeah, okay, so now we do this, so that Aglaya is back in front of Sunday. One of the dangers with 160 speed Sunday is if you ult right away with Robin, she's actually not going to put the Sunday and the Aglaya in the right turn order. Okay, let's see if we can get this kill. And see, the Memo Sprite gets it. And it's like, why did the Memo Sprite get it? Because Aglaya probably did like 90% of that Memo Sprite's damage. And the Memo Sprite finished it off. And so obviously this significantly favors hyper-invested teams, but it also favors teams that are able to do this boss without a healer, because the more exponential your damage is, especially with this boss, because if he doesn't actually get out of this phase, he doesn't do all this damage. And the reality is that we don't really have the luxury of doing that, because my DPS is just not currently strong enough to be able to beat him in time. So we're stuck here actually doing boss mechanics, whereas most people probably don't. And that's just the way it is. Here I'm going to ult. I want to chip him down as much as possible. Great. I think this will get her ult up. Cool. Yeah, this is probably more efficient. Oh, that's right. Alright. Cool. Great. So, we need to probably just break one of these ghosts to get him into his break phase. Seems weaker than the others. Fortunately, we can just spam healing, so this is fairly safe. Can we kill this ghost? Yeah, okay, great. See, we're just not able to get these reset. Oh shit. This is fine. So this gets a Goliath back. Maybe yeah, this saves our Goliaths. Memo Sprite. Do I wanna? I guess it just break this. I'll let the Memo Sprite break it. So we get all of our stuff back, and so now we have to pop this ult right here to make sure that Aguaya goes back in front of Sunday. Perfect. I don't think we're getting another wall. Maybe I should have just attacked there. That's probably a mistake. And 1293. So, passable score, but not great. So, on the Doombringer side, we're going to use Anaxa. And because we only finished at 1293 with Aglaya, we need to do just a little bit of catching up. But it should be pretty straightforward to do so. The main thing to just watch out here is to watch our skill points and make sure that nobody randomly dies. So now that we have Tribu's ult, we can pop that, we can pop this ultimate. And generate skill points. Do some breaking just to assist a little bit. And now we're not going to ult right away with Branya, because she is using Dance, 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 and that would put Anaxa in the wrong turn order, so we have to wait for him to take his turn. It's unfortunate. It would have been nice if that hit Anaxa. So Branya getting hit is fine. It's not going to mess up the turn order. Cool. So we action advance. Action advance. Okay, skill point back, nice. And we start shredding this guy. so one more, and he should be... We're gonna save this Gallagher ult for the reset. Get an extra skill point, maybe heal if we need to. Let's see if it hits Bronya. No. Yeah, it was the 5. Here. Yeah, regenerate skill points. And heal Bronya. Cool. So now it's gonna do some AoE damage, and is it gonna stun anyone? Okay, it stunned Bronya, which is not ideal, but it's fine. We are still in the correct turn order. It's much worse if the stuns go out the other way. Do I want to... I have a feeling that I should be able to get a second turn. So I think I'm gonna save that. Let's see, can we actually get this guy out of the way? Let's advance, yeah, okay. So we don't have to worry about anybody dying. I think we just have this in the bag now. Perfect. Everything resets. My action advance, everybody. Trivia's already at the 0 action value, but I think we should be fine. Yeah, we can just use our ults here. So we're going to miss 1600 by 1 point. That's exactly. No, we're gonna miss by 1 point. Alright, and that's it. So, plenty of time. We're made up for Aglaia, 6893. You know, it's a little closer than the Aglaia side, but, you know, we're still doing well. Let's wrap things up and go over closing thoughts while I show the current builds. I pulled for E1 midday because I knew there was going to be a lot of AoE in the meta, and I pulled for E1 Trivi because I'm using her constantly. I'm happy with both decisions, and strategically I'm increasingly confident that a pure horizontal strategy doesn't work in Starrett. I pulled for Trivi's E1 because I was doing these stages without it, and constantly felt like I needed just a little bit more gas to beat them. The game also gets much easier when you have one vertically invested team that you know can destroy its stage, and give the other team plenty of time to get across the finishing line. So right now my plan is to save for midday's E2. But this account does have some problems. First, I don't have enough Harmony Lycons. I tried Dreamville Adventure because most of my characters use skill damage, and it sort of works, but it's awkward. I might have to save for Bronya's Lycon from the store. The second problem is most of my characters really want Sunday, and Bronya just isn't a great substitute. I'm hoping midday's E2 gives him enough power to allow me to use Bronya on his team instead of Sunday. Finally, although I'm generally happy with Anaxa because he's very flexible and good with both single target and 3 target fights despite being an erudition character, mine has been struggling in pure fiction. I know he can do better, and moving Sunday to his team should help him, but I also want to see how well he plays with Mini Herder. I haven't had the energy to build her until just now. But in general, I'm done with farming traces, and I can focus on getting perfect relics. Things should get easier from now on. Anyway, subscribe, like. If you have any questions, leave a comment. We also now have a Discord, so join that to chat. I'll see you in the next one.